Captain Todd Benson sees a black woman by the jet and assumes she's just another passenger lost in luxury. Another misunderstanding to correct. But what he doesn't know, that woman is Sophia Langston, the owner of the jet, the fleet, and the company that signs his paycheck. Stick around, because when the cameras roll and jet justice explodes, Todd's wings won't lift him. They'll drag him down. Justice isn't waiting on the runway. It's already in the air. We'd love to know where in the world you're tuning in from and what time it is there. Comment below and subscribe to stay updated. Captain Todd Benson's polished shoes clicked against the terminal's marble floor, each step resonating with 15 years of authority. The gleaming wings on his immaculate uniform caught the morning light as he approached the woman claiming ownership of the $65 million Gulfstream G650. The absurdity of it almost made him laugh. "Ma'am, there seems to be a misunderstanding," Captain Todd Benson declared, his voice carrying that special tone he reserved for redirecting lost passengers. The woman, Sophia Langston, according to the manifest, stood her ground, her designer briefcase propped against Italian leather boots that probably cost more than his monthly salary. But something didn't sit right. It never did when things didn't fit his carefully ordered world. A young flight attendant's phone caught his attention, its camera lens glinting. Was she recording? Captain Todd Benson squared his shoulders, drawing himself to his full height. He'd dealt with countless situations like this before. His hand instinctively rose to adjust his wings, a gesture that usually commanded immediate respect. "I'll need to see additional verification," he announced, loud enough for nearby passengers to hear. "We can't be too careful with aircraft of this caliber." His fingers traced the cool metal of his captain's wings, a habit that had always steadied his resolve. The woman's eyes narrowed, a flicker of something dangerous passing through them. "Captain Benson," she said, her voice carrying an authority that made his spine stiffen. "I own this jet, and 4 others like it." A crowd was gathering now, phones raised. The hashtag #PrivateJetGate would start trending within minutes, though Captain Todd Benson didn't know it yet. His world of absolute control was about to shatter, but for now, he still believed in his infallibility. Near the security checkpoint, a passenger whispered, "That's the owner? He's toast." A flight attendant murmured to a colleague, "This'll blow up online fast." Another ground crew member typed quickly, shaking their head. "Jet justice incoming." "Perhaps there's been a scheduling error," he pressed, stepping closer, invading her space with the confidence of someone who'd never had their judgment questioned. "These aircraft typically belong to whom, Captain?" The challenge in her voice made his fingers twitch toward his wings again. A flight attendant whispered something about CEO Langston Aviation Holdings, but surely that was another Langston. His gut churned with unease, but Captain Todd Benson couldn't back down now, not with everyone watching, not with his reputation on the line. "I'm simply following protocol," he declared, though no such protocol existed. "Until this is sorted out, I cannot allow—" "Todd." A familiar voice cut through the tension. The terminal's director, Harrison Wells, hurried toward them, his face ashen. "Ms. Langston is the owner, not just of the jet, of the entire elite aviation fleet." The terminal fell silent except for the soft whoosh of phones lowering, their footage already uploading. Captain Todd Benson's hand froze on his wings, the metal suddenly cold against his fingers. Drop 1 in the comments if you've ever witnessed someone's perfect world crumble. In that moment, as his carefully constructed reality began to crack, Captain Todd Benson remembered his first flight instructor's words. "The sky doesn't care about your assumptions, only your actions." How many times had he dismissed those words, believing his judgment was beyond question. The distinctive chime of a viral video notification echoed from somewhere in the crowd. Captain Todd Benson's empire of certainty was about to face Zota's severe turbulence, and for the first time in 15 years, he wasn't sure he could navigate through it. "Now, Captain," Sophia Langston's voice cut through his thoughts, "shall we discuss what exactly feels off about this situation?" The weight of his captain's wings, once a source of pride, now pressed against his chest like an anchor. Captain Todd Benson stood at the threshold of a storm that would transform not just his career, but an entire industry's culture. But right now, in this terminal, with phones recording and his certainty crumbling, he was about to learn that the highest forms of turbulence occur not in the sky, but in the moments when our deepest biases crash into reality. They always told Captain Todd Benson that true authority came from protecting standards. 27 years of commanding elite aviation's most prestigious routes had taught him to trust his instincts. As his fingers traced the gold braid on his uniform sleeve, memories of his mentor, Captain Richard Walsh, echoed in his mind. "We're the last line of defense against declining excellence in aviation." The documentation before him seemed flawless. Type ratings, medical certificates, even the private jet registration. But something about Sophia Langston's presence in his terminal felt wrong. Captain Todd Benson's jaw clenched as he made his fourth call to verification services, watching her through the glass partition where she waited, scrolling through her phone with unearned confidence. "This is Captain Todd Benson again. I need another verification on passenger manifest 47B. His voice carried the weight of thousands of flight hours, each one reinforcing his right to question, to protect, to control. A 2019 study from the Aviation Safety Institute flashed through his mind. Traditional hierarchical structures ensure operational integrity. He'd highlighted that passage, used it in crew briefings, but now that same authority seemed to waver as his call was met with increasing confusion. "Sir, we've already confirmed Ms. Langston's credentials 3 times. Is there a specific concern?" The question stung like a reprimand. Captain Todd Benson's fingers tightened around his logbook, the leather creaking under his grip. Behind him, a junior pilot cleared his throat. "Captain, I've worked with Ms. Langston before. She's actually quite knowledgeable about—" Captain Todd Benson silenced him with a glare that had cowed countless subordinates. But something felt different this time. The young man's eyes held not respect, but judgment. A notification pinged on the terminal computer. Captain Todd Benson's heart nearly stopped as he saw the subject line. "Incident report. Passenger discrimination review." His own name jumped out from the screen, alongside details of similar delays and enhanced verification requests, all involving minority passengers over the past 5 years. "Have you seen this, Captain?" Another pilot approached, tablet in hand. "It's trending on aviation forums. They're calling it pattern of prejudice at elite." Captain Todd Benson's world tilted as he saw his past decisions laid bare in stark statistics and timestamps. The weight of his captain's wings suddenly felt crushing against his chest. He'd always touched them for reassurance before difficult decisions, but now they seemed to burn. Captain Todd Benson's mind raced through every similar incident, each time he'd cited security protocols or additional verification needed. Each time he'd believed he was maintaining standards. Studies from his own training manuals mocked him from their shelf. Implicit bias in aviation leadership, impact on operational safety, and crew dynamics. He'd dismissed such readings as political correctness. Now those words felt like prophecy. A message flashed on his phone. the chief of operations requesting an immediate meeting. Captain Todd Benson's hands trembled as he gathered his logbook, his perfect record suddenly seeming fragile as glass. The terminal's fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows across his face, aging him years in moments. Type standards if you've ever questioned someone's right to be somewhere, the aviation forums challenged their readers, his name tagged in every response. In the reflection of his office window, Captain Todd Benson watched his empire of authority begin to crack. When did protecting standards become protecting prejudice? He wondered, his captain's wings catching the light one last time before the shadows crept in. Have you ever watched your certainty crumble? Have you felt the ground shift beneath years of unquestioned authority? Captain Todd Benson had, and as he prepared to face the chief of operations, he realized his greatest threat wasn't Sophia Langston's presence in his terminal. It was his own reflection staring back at him from behind decades of carefully constructed justifications. Captain Todd Benson's fingers trembled as he stared at the HR email, his pilot's wings suddenly feeling like lead against his chest. The familiar cockpit of the elite aviation jet, his sanctuary for 15 years, had become suffocating. Social media notifications kept buzzing, each one a fresh reminder of his confrontation with Sophia Langston. "Sir, the pre-flight checks." His co-pilot's voice trailed off as Captain Todd Benson waved him away, his eyes fixed on the security footage thumbnail attached to the email. There he was, his face contorted with assumption and prejudice, blocking Ms. Langston's path to her own jet. The timestamp mocked him. Just 6 hours ago, he'd been so certain, so righteous. The whine of the jet engines penetrated his growing anxiety as Captain Todd Benson clicked through Twitter. Benson Bigot was trending. His chest tightened as he watched the video again. Someone had caught everything on their phone. His voice dripping with condescension. "This is a private aviation terminal, ma'am. You must be lost." Her calm response. "I own the jet, Captain. Now please step aside." The wings on his uniform caught the afternoon sun, sending a glare across his screen. Captain Todd Benson touched them reflexively, remembering how proudly he'd polished them this morning. Now they felt like brands of shame. An incoming call from Elite Aviation's CEO made his heart stop. Declining it felt like sealing his fate. "Captain, we have a situation." The ground crew supervisor appeared at the cockpit door. "Ms. Langston's legal team has contacted Elite Aviation. They're—" Captain Todd Benson raised his hand, silencing him. He already knew. The security footage showed everything. His aggressive stance, his hand on her arm, the disgust in his expression when she presented her credentials. His phone buzzed again. CNN was running the story. Elite aviation pilot confronts black business owner. His stomach churned as he read the comments. 15 years of perfect service records, dissolving in 6 hours. The engine's whine now sounded like judgment, their steady rhythm accusing. "Bigot, bigot, bigot." Captain Todd Benson's hands shook as he tried to complete the pre-flight checklist. The numbers swam before his eyes as another email arrived, this time from Elite Aviation's legal department. The subject line made his throat close. "Immediate administrative leave pending investigation." His co-pilot cleared his throat. "Maybe you should step down from this flight, sir." The suggestion hung in the air like exhaust fumes. Captain Todd Benson looked out at the terminal where it had happened, where he'd tried to protect his elite clientele from someone who owned more jets than he'd ever pilot. The wings on his chest felt heavier with each breath. Patterns he'd ignored for years suddenly surfaced in his memory. Other assumptions, other confrontations, other passengers he'd protected his airline from. But this time, Someone had filmed it. This time, he'd chosen the wrong target. This time, there would be consequences. Share this moment of realization if you've ever seen privilege crumble. Has karma ever caught up with you? Comment below. Captain Todd Benson watched as another pilot was called to replace him. Walking through the terminal, past whispers and pointed phones, his wings caught the light one last time. The sound of jet engines followed him out. No longer the symphony of freedom they'd always been, but a requiem for a career built on biases he could no longer deny. The emergency lights in the private terminal cast harsh shadows as I, Captain Todd Benson, stare at my phone, my captain's wings suddenly feeling like they're made of lead. The CEO's voice crackles through the speaker, each word hammering another nail into my career's coffin. Your conduct was inexcusable, Captain Benson. Elite aviation stands for excellence, not prejudice. My gaze drifts to Ms. Langston's jet through the terminal window. She sits in the cabin with perfect posture, her calm demeanor more devastating than any rage could be. Her assistant's phone camera glints in the afternoon sun, still recording, still documenting my downfall. I was following protocol, I hear myself say, but the words sound hollow even to me. 20 years of flying, thousands of hours in the cockpit. All my authority, disintegrating because I couldn't see past my own assumptions. The terminal's air feels thick, suffocating. My uniform, once a source of pride, now feels like a costume I don't deserve to wear. The security badge hanging from my neck, the one I've polished every morning for 2 decades, catches the light, mocking me. Protocol? The CEO's voice sharpens. Was it protocol to demand multiple forms of ID from a verified client? To suggest she couldn't afford our services? To imply she must be in the wrong terminal? Each question hits like physical blows. Outside, I see more phones recording. The hashtag #AviationJustice is probably trending by now. My hands start to shake as I realize this isn't just about my career anymore. This is about an entire system I've been blindly perpetuating. Ms. Langston emerges from her jet, her heels clicking purposefully against the terminal floor, the same floor where hours ago I'd stood blocking her path. The sound echoes like a judge's gavel. Her assistant's camera follows her every move. Captain Benson, she addresses me directly for the first time since our confrontation. You told me I didn't belong here. Now I wonder, who really doesn't belong? Benson's mouth opens, but no words come. Langston holds his gaze, calm and steady. Captain, your wings should lift people up, not push them down. Benson stammers. I was following protocol. Langston. No, you were following assumptions. The words I'd thrown at her earlier bounce back, stripped of their power, exposing only prejudice. My throat tightens as I watch several other elite aviation pilots remove their wings in solidarity with her. The metallic clicks as their badges hit the counter sound like prison doors closing. Your immediate suspension is effective now, the CEO continues through the phone. We're launching a full investigation into all passenger complaints over the past 5 years. 5 years? How many other travelers had I subjected to my biases? How many times had I hidden behind protocol to justify my prejudice? The realization crashes over me like turbulence I can't control. Drop a 2 if you've ever witnessed someone's power crumbling. My security badge feels like it's burning against my chest. With trembling fingers, I unpick it from my uniform. The familiar weight falls away, taking with it the last vestiges of my authority. Cameras capture the moment, another clip destined for viral infamy. The words catch in my throat as Ms. Langston watches. I was wrong. The admission hangs in the air like exhaust fumes. too little too late. Outside, a crowd has gathered, phones raised, documenting every second of my disgrace. Through the glass, I see news vans pulling up. My fall from grace isn't just personal anymore. It's becoming a symbol of something much bigger. The CEO's final words seal my fate. Elite Aviation is implementing immediate changes to our training and passenger interaction protocols. Your case, Captain Benson, will be the cornerstone of what not to do. As security escorts me from the terminal, my wings and badge confiscated, I catch one last glimpse of Ms. Langston boarding her jet, exactly where she had every right to be. The doors close behind me with a devastating finality, leaving me on the wrong side of justice, stripped of everything I'd used to define myself. Through the glass, I watch her jet taxi away, carrying with it my career, my pride, and my illusions about power. In its wake, it leaves only the harsh truth. I didn't lose my position because of her. I lost it because of me. Share this story with #AviationJustice if you believe change starts with accountability. Captain Todd Benson stares at his reflection in Elite Aviation's polished lobby window, his fingers tracing the wings that adorned his uniform for 23 years. The morning sun catches the brass, but instead of pride, each gleam feels like an accusation. His phone buzzes again. Another notification about @Benson's bias trending worldwide, now accompanied by aviation industry statistics revealing a pattern he'd been blind to for decades. "The board will see you now, Captain Benson." The HR director's voice carries a formality that cuts deeper than any reprimand. His footsteps echo through the hallway he once strode with authority, now feeling like a walk of shame. Inside the conference room, the faces of the board members reflect not just disappointment, but a deeper recognition of systemic failures. The viral video plays on the screen behind them, his confrontation with Sophia Langston replaying in crystal clarity. His own voice, dripping with assumed superiority, makes him wince. This is a private terminal for verified elite aviation pilots and their approved passengers. "I've reviewed our hiring practices," Captain Benson speaks, his voice hoarse. "In 23 years, I never questioned why our pilot roster looked so uniform. I convinced myself it was about qualifications, not color. Ms. Langston didn't just expose my prejudice. She exposed my willful blindness. The weight of his wings feels unbearable as he unpins them. The metallic clink against the conference table resonates like a judge's gavel. I'm not just retiring," he continues. "I'm requesting that my severance be donated to the new Aviation Diversity Initiative. My story needs to be more than a viral hashtag. It needs to be a catalyst for change." Outside, a private jet takes off, its engines roaring against the morning sky. Captain Benson watches through the window, remembering countless takeoffs that felt like victories. Now, grounded by his own biases, he understands that the highest form of aviation excellence isn't measured in flight hours or technical skills, but in the ability to see beyond our own limited horizons. His phone shows another notification. Ms. Langston's new position on Elite Aviation's diversity board, alongside his resignation announcement. The comments flood in. From bias to breakthrough. This is how change happens. Watch this former pilot's journey from prejudice to purpose. Type 3, if you believe one person's awakening can transform an industry. In his final address to the company, streamed live across aviation channels, Captain Benson holds up his wings one last time. "These wings were my identity." His voice carries the weight of 2 decades of realization. But identity built on exclusion was never really excellence. True excellence soars on the winds of diversity. The wings find their final home in Elite Aviation's newly established Museum of Change, displayed alongside statistics, stories, and solutions. A plaque beneath them reads, "From Barriers to Bridges, the Benson Turning Point." Sometimes, Captain Benson reflects in his last interview, watching a diverse group of pilot trainees walk past. We must lose our wings to help others find their sky. Share this story if you believe transformation starts with acknowledging our blind spots. Aviation for All. The sunset paints Elite Aviation's headquarters in golden light as Captain Todd Benson exits for the final time. Above, planes piloted by a new generation trace paths across the darkening sky, each contrail writing a different story than the one he lived. His phone buzzes one last time, a message from Ms. Langston. "Your greatest flight was the journey to truth.